Texas Permit Test 2026 DMV Questions and Answers. Flashcard 1. What is the minimum age at which you can get a Class C driver's license without driver education or being a hardship case? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is 18. Flashcard 2. How much is the maximum fine for a first conviction of driving without a license? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is $200. Flashcard 3. What type of restrictions may be placed on your license? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is corrective lenses, lofts age 21 or older, daytime only, do not exceed 45 mph, no expressway driving, M/C not to exceed 250 cc, licensed M/C operator age 21 or older in sight, moped, vehicle without air brake applies to vehicles requiring CDL. CDL interstate commerce only, stated on license, lofts 21 or over vehicle above Class B, lofts 21 or over vehicle above Class C outside mirror or hearing aid, automatic transmission, applicable prosthetic devices, applicable vehicle devices, power steering. Flashcard 4. In what direction should you turn your wheels when parking uphill without a curb? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is turn wheels to the right. Flashcard 5. What action should you take if you fail to receive the renewal notice card reminding license is about to expire? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is it is still up to you to renew your license. Send in an application for renewal. Flashcard 6. On a one-way street, what color is the broken lane marker? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is the broken lane marker is white. Flashcard 7. Describe the yield sign. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is a red and white equilateral triangle. The sign tells you that the road you are on joins with another road ahead. You should slow down or stop if necessary so that you can yield the right-of-way to vehicles on the other road. Flashcard 8. What does a narrow bridge sign look like, and how should the driver react when he sees one? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is it is a yellow diamond and shows that the bridge ahead is not as wide as the road. Slow down and use caution. Flashcard 9. What is the shape of a keep right sign, and how should the driver react when he sees one? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is a white and black rectangular sign with a black arrow pointing to the right. The driver should keep to the right. Flashcard 10. Which sign tells you to slow down because you are approaching a double curve? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is the road curves one way right and then the other way left. Slow down, keep right, and do not pass. Flashcard 11. What does a do not pass sign mean? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is do not pass other vehicles. Flashcard 12. Which sign tells you to keep in the right-hand lane when driving slow? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is slower traffic keep right sign. Flashcard 13. What does yield right-of-way mean? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is to allow another vehicle or roadway user to proceed first when they have the right-of-way. Flashcard 14. Describe the equipment required on passenger cars by state law. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is 1. Brakes, foot brake, parking brake. 2. Lights. 2. Headlights, tail lights, brake lights, turn signals, license plate light, reflectors, parking lights. 3. Horn. 4. Muffler. 5. Safety glass. 6. License plate. 7. Windshield wiper. 8. Rear view mirror. 9. Slow-moving vehicle emblem if designed to travel at 25 mph or less. 10. Front seat belts. 11. Tires. 12. Fuel cap. Flashcard. 15. What is the purpose of an exhaust emission system? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is to reduce air pollution. Flashcard. 16. Describe the types of equipment which Texas state law specifically forbids on passenger cars driven within the state. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is you must not have a red light showing from the front. B. A bell, siren, or exhaust whistle. C. A muffler cutout. D. Anything that extends more than 3 inches beyond the left side or 6 inches beyond the right side of the body, running board, or fenders of your car. E. Flashing red lights on the front. Flashcard. 17. How should you react when a traffic officer tells you to do something which is ordinarily considered to be against the law? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is you must obey the traffic officer at all times. Flashcard. 18. Once the brakes have been applied, about how many feet does a car 70 mph travel before it comes? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is it takes 87 feet for the car to stop. Flashcard. 19. When is it necessary to stop before proceeding when you overtake a school bus loading or unloading children? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is you should never overtake a school bus, especially when it is loading or unloading children. You should stop until the bus either resumes its drive or the driver tells you to pass. Flashcard. 20. About how many feet will the average driver going 50 mph travel from the moment he sees danger until he hits the brakes? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is up to 10 feet. Flashcard. 21. Within how many feet of a crosswalk may you park when parking near a corner? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is no less than 20 feet. Flashcard. 22. What is the standard state speed limit for automobiles in urban districts? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is 30 mph. Flashcard. 23. Does a posted speed limit of 55 mph mean that you may drive 55 mph on that highway under all conditions? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is no. Speed must be adjusted to the flow of traffic, weather conditions, etc. in order to avoid accidents. Flashcard. 24. You should never drive on the left half of the roadway when you are within how many feet from an intersection, bridge, or railroad crossing? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is 155 car lengths. Flashcard. 25. What should you do if you discover you are in the wrong lane to make a turn as you enter an intersection? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is if you can't get into the proper lane at least within 1/2 block before you turn, then don't turn and continue straight. Flashcard 26. When two cars meet at the intersection of a two-lane road with four-lane road, which one must yield the right-of-way? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, the car on the two-lane road should yield. Bigger, better, faster. Flashcard 27. If you are driving and hear a siren coming, think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, yield to the emergency vehicle by moving to the right edge of the roadway and stopping. Flashcard 28. What is the first thing that should be done when a car starts to skid? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, take your foot off the gas pedal and turn the steering wheel in the direction of the skid. Flashcard 29. At what time of day should your headlights be turned on? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, half an hour after sunset until half an hour before sunrise. Flashcard 30. Under what conditions may your driver's license be suspended? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, DWI by use of alcohol or drugs, drug offense, intoxication, manslaughter, intoxication, assault, failure to stop and render aid, causing the death or serious injury of anyone while operating a motor vehicle, any offense punishable as a felony under the motor vehicle laws of Texas, overtaking and passing a school bus, boating while intoxicated, evading arrest, driving while license invalid, altered/unlawful use of driver license, refusing a breathalyzer, etc. Flashcard 31. What is carbon monoxide, and how may it be harmful to drivers? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, it's a colorless, deadly gas in the exhaust fumes produced by cars and can cause poisoning. Flashcard 32. Describe what you should do if you have a blowout while driving. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, move the car off the pavement, turn on emergency warning lights, and tie a white cloth where visible or raise your hood. Flashcard 33. What should you do when driving down a steep grade in a car with a standard transmission? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, use a low gear to slow your vehicle down. Flashcard 34. What should you do if you damage an unattended vehicle? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, stop. Locate owner/operator and give name and address, or leave a written notice. Flashcard 35. When are accident reports required? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, when a law enforcement officer hasn't investigated the crash. Flashcard 36. If you are required to show proof of financial responsibility for the future, how many years must such proof be kept up? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, 2 years. Flashcard 37. What type of sign warns you to watch right and left for cross-traffic? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, crossroad ahead. Slow down. Look carefully in all directions. Flashcard 38. Describe the emblem which identifies vehicles which travel at speeds of 25 mph or less. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, a fluorescent orange triangle with retroflective borders. Flashcard 39. In which gear should you drive when going down a steep hill? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is low gear. Flashcard 40. What qualifications must one have to teach a beginner to drive? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is must be a licensed driver and at least 21 years old. The student must have an instruction permit. Flashcard 41. If a person is under 18, when does his provisional license expire? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is on his next birth date after date of issuance. Flashcard 42. When parked parallel, your curbside wheels must be no more than how many inches from the curb? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is 6 inches. Flashcard 43. When following another car, what is a good rule to determine the distance at which you should follow behind? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is keep at least 2 seconds away. Flashcard 44. To what agency and within what time period must a change of address be reported for driver licensing purposes? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is it must be reported to the driver license office within 30 days. Flashcard 45. What effects does the use of marijuana and amphetamine have on driving? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is marijuana impairs the sensory and perceptual skills and also affects concentration and judgment. Amphetamines make the driver less coordinated, more edgy, and have been known to cause lapses in concentration. Flashcard 46. What is the penalty for being convicted of driving while intoxicated? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is mandatory suspension of license. The first offense has a maximum fine of $2 and suspension of license for 90-365 days and confinement of 72 HRS 180 days. Flashcard 47. What does a green arrow showing with a red light mean? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is proceed carefully in the direction of the arrow, yielding the right of way to other vehicles and pedestrians. Flashcard 48. How should you react to a flashing red light? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is stop completely while entering the crosswalk/intersection, and then proceed carefully yield. Flashcard 49. Which sign tells you to watch out for a train? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is a railroad crossing sign. It's circular and yellow with a black X and 2 RS. Railroads also have railroad crosswalks posted by the crossing, with a gate and flashing lights. Flashcard 50. Describe the sign which warns you to slow down for a winding road. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is yellow, diamond, and a squiggly line pointing ahead. Flashcard 51. What sign indicates that the road that you are on merges with another? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is one lane merging onto the arrow that's pointing ahead. Flashcard 52. What kind of sign warns you that the highest safe speed for the turn ahead is 25 mph? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is an advisory speed sign. It has an arrow turning with a small sign with the speed limit under it. Flashcard 53. Describe the sign that tells you to watch for cross traffic ahead. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is it's a black cross in a yellow diamond. Cross traffic ahead. Slow down. Look carefully in all directions. Flashcard 54. What type of sign warns you that you should slow down for a sharp rise in the roadway? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is bump warning sign. Flashcard 55. Describe the type of sign which would let you know that you were on a short state highway in a city or urban area. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is loop ###, rectangle with black writing. Flashcard 56. What is the maximum number of inches that you may lawfully allow an object to extend the left fender of your car? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is 3 inches. Flashcard 57. Under what conditions must you always stop? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is as stop signs, red lights, crosswalks, and for school buses and emergency vehicles. Flashcard 58. What should you do when coming onto a street from a private alley or driveway? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is ye should stop prior to the sidewalk and yield the right of way to all approaching pedestrians. Flashcard 59. If a child runs into the road 45-50 feet ahead of your car, what is the highest speed from which you can stop with good brakes without hitting him? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is 15 mph. Flashcard 60. How close to a fire plug may a vehicle lawfully park? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is no less than 15 feet. Flashcard 61. What does a posted speed limit of 55 mph mean? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is it means that the maximum speed is 55 mph on the roadway in ideal conditions. Flashcard 62. What is the maximum speed limit for passenger cars on Texas highway numbered by the state, or for United States outside an urban district? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is daytime 70 mph. Flashcard 63. Under what circumstances should you never attempt to pass a car ahead of you? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is when pavement markings prohibit driving on the other lane's solid white line when within 100 ft of slash or crossing an intersection or railroad crossing on a hill, curve, or another place with limited vision minus 100 ft of a bridge, viaduct, or tunnel. Flashcard 64. Under what conditions are overtaking and passing to the right not permitted? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is if you need to drive off the paved portion of the highway, you can pass on the shoulder of the road if it is paved. Flashcard 65. When a driver is waiting to make a left turn, what is the procedure he should take when the light turns green? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is get on the left lane. Begin signaling and slowing down at least 100 ft from corner. Stay to the right of the interstate when on the center line, and yield to approaching vehicles. Flashcard 66. What precautions should a driver take at uncontrolled intersections? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is yield to any vehicle which has entered the intersection from the right or is approaching from the right. Make sure there are not any vehicles going left or right. Flashcard 67. What regulations should a bicycle rider observe? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is same regulations as drivers, but ride as far right in the lane as possible. Slow traffic in right lane. Flashcard 68. You should dim your lights and turn off brights when you are within how many feet of an approaching car? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is 500 feet. Flashcard 69. What type of lighting should cars use when parked on the highway at night? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is parking lights or lower beam headlights. Flashcard 70. Which lights should you use when you are driving in a fog? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is lower dim headlights. Bright headlights will reflect off of the fog. Flashcard 71. When are you required to show proof of financial responsibility? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is upon request, when you're involved in a crash. Flashcard 72. When needed, how may one show proof of financial responsibility? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is with a liability insurance policy or a standard proof of liability insurance form given by the Texas Department of Insurance and issued by a liability insurer. Flashcard 73. What sign warns you that you must slow down? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is many of the yellow diamond warning signs, especially slow down on wet road. Flashcard 74. What circumstances may lead to possible loss of your license? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is suspension/revocation action from another state, parental authorization withdrawn, voluntary surrender for medical/insurance purposes, and false statement on application. Flashcard 75. In addition to mufflers, what new equipment is required on all cars manufactured in 1968 and after? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is an exhaust emission system. Flashcard 76. Why are seat belts important? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is they keep you from getting thrown out of your car, hitting the dashboard too hard, and in control of your car. Flashcard 77. What is meant by defensive driving? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is protecting yourself and others from dangerous and unexpected driving situations by using a space management system. Stay alert to everything happening around you. Look for trouble spots developing around. Have a plan of action if other driver does the wrong thing. And know the law requires drivers to protect each other from their own mistakes. Flashcard 78. What are the different classes of licenses and age requirements for each? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is Class A 18 or 17 with approved driver education or approval of minor and PASH 039S hardship application. Class B 18 or 17 with approved driver education or approval of minor and PASH 039S hardship. Class C 18 or 16 with approved driver education or 15 with approval of minor and PASH 039S hardship. And Class M for motorcyclists, 18 or 16 with approved driver education. Flashcard 79. When is a bicyclist not required to ride on the right of the roadway? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is passing/overtaking, left turn at intersection, unsafe conditions in roadway lanes width is inappropriate. Flashcard 80. When are bicyclists allowed to ride two abreast in a traffic lane? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is when the traffic is light and of substandard length. Flashcard 81. What are the 3 most common motorist-caused car-bicycle crashes? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is 1. Motorists turning left in front of oncoming bicycle traffic. 2. Motorists turning right across path of bicycle traffic. 3. Motorists pulling away from a stop sign or failing to yield to bicycle cross traffic. Flashcard 82. What are the penalties for minors persons under the age of 21 convicted of driving under the influence of alcohol? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is 1. Fine up to $5. 20-40 HRS community service. License suspended for 20 days / or confinement of up to 8 days. 2. Fine up to $500. 40-60 HRS community service, and maybe a course. $3 $5 40-60 HRS community service / or confined up to 8 days. Flashcard 83. What are the penalties for minors persons under the age of 21 convicted of non-driving alcohol-related offenses? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is 1. 60 days suspension. 2. 120 days suspension. 3. 150 days suspension. May be placed in jail until bond is made or appearance before a magistrate or juvenile court judge. Flashcard 84. Right of way. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is when a car or group of cars and pedestrians have the privilege to use the road before others.